Welcome back to 6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We begin today in Asia, where the North Korean plot to funnel money away from the United States and the multiple companies has begun to come into focus. From BBC, quote, they were among a group of 130 North Korean IT workers employed by 2 firms where they were internally referred to as IT warriors. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the suspects were allegedly ordered to seek salaries of $10,000 a month from their U.S. employers. The indictment says the defendants and others working with them generated at least $888 million for the North Korean regime over a 6-year period, end quote. Though all the perpetrators are presumed to still be in North Korea, so it is unlikely they will face any trial anytime soon. Next, we go to near Australia, where a large magnitude earthquake was detected in the capital of a nearby island nation. From Reuters, quote, an earthquake of magnitude 7.4 struck Vatua's capital, Port Vila, on Tuesday, the U.S. Geological Survey said. The quake was at a depth of 10 kilometers, about 6.21 miles, USGS said. Footage posted on social media showed blocked windows and collapsed concrete pillars on the buildings hosting foreign embassies in the capital. Following the earthquake, the U.S. tsunami warning system warned a tsunami was coming. However, authorities in neighboring New Zealand and Australia said there was not currently any tsunami threat to their countries. Next, we come to Europe, where a pair of Russian ships has wrecked in the Black Sea, where they were attempting to move large amounts of oil through the region. From BBC, quote, footage released by Russian Southern Transport Prosecutor's Office showed the bow of one tanker completely broken off, with streaks of oil visible in the water. Both tankers are believed to have drifted before running aground offshore. At least one crew member was reportedly killed. The incident took place in the Kerch Strait, which separates Russia from Crimea, end quote. Though the Russians have notoriously been transporting oil with ghost ships to avoid sanctions, these two do not appear to be a part of that designation. Next to South America, where the Bolivian economy is headed for a crisis after years of high inflation and failed attempts at intervention from the government. From Reuters, quote, inflation is at its highest level in over a decade in Bolivia, which has heralded for its commodities-backed, quote, economic miracle in the 2000s. Now the country faces its worst economic crisis this century, with natural gas exports tumbling while dominant socialist parties' spend and grow economic model has imploded. Bolivia's gas exports, the key source of foreign income, has halved in the last decade as producers have not found new gas fields to replace those that have been tapped out. Central bank hard currency reserves have drained to nearly zero, which has hit imports of fuel, pushing up prices and strained the Bolivarian currency. Drifting across the Atlantic to Africa, where a major shift is happening in the western plain of the continent. From BBC, quote, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger plan to withdraw from ECOWAS in January after refusing the bloc's demand to restore democratic rule. The 3 departing countries were founding members of ECOWAS when it was established in 1975 to improve economic and political integration in West Africa. So this is a huge blow to what was Africa's most developed trading group. ECOWAS leaders meeting in Nigeria on Sunday said they respected the 3 Sahel countries' decision to leave, but offered a transitional period of 6 months. In the period between the 29th of January and the 29th of July 2025, the trio can be readmitted to the bloc should they decide to rejoin the community, a communique from ECOWAS noted. We finish today in North America, where a famous Mexican drug cartel member, José Cardenas, has been released after years in prison in America. From Reuters, quote, the outstanding charges include one related to organized crime and another for the use of illegally obtained funds, the office said. Cardenas, 57, was freed in August after serving more than 2 decades behind bars in a maximum security prison in the United States, and since then has been held by U.S. immigration officials. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, said in a statement that Cardenas was, quote, handed headed over to the Mexican law enforcement without incident after crossing the San Diego, California port of entry to Tijuana, end quote. And if you want to read any of today's articles, all of them will be linked in the description below that like and subscribe button. You can also find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine down there. And if you want to listen to the Twitter tirade, that comes out the same day over at the Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip, where it is posted. It's a little bit more off the top of the head. It's not necessarily scripted like this one is. And if you want to listen to the normal podcast, that comes out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday here and on the RSS feed. It's 30 minutes of U.S. politics. So, with that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe, don't die.